All right, welcome back to Sodi Pop on YouTube. My name is Matt, and this here is Chat with Matt, your source for daily gaming news. And then, of course, on Friday, we'll still have Sodi Pop Gaming News, which will be a nice little recap of everything that happened in the week of gaming. So going forward, that's how it's going to be. And let's go ahead and discuss. All right, to begin with, Xbox released its first look at Series X gameplay. I guess you could say gameplay. Some people were pretty upset that there didn't seem to be a whole lot of gameplay in the footages that they showed. In particular, there were a lot of pre-rendered moments and some stuff that was shown in engine, but not someone literally playing the game on the Series X. I think as a lot of us came to expect. I know I certainly did. I'm going to go ahead and start off with this Bright Memory Infinite. We're going to go ahead and take a look. It actually looks fantastic. So let's go ahead and play this trailer. Every game you're about to see is being optimized for the Xbox Series X. Wink and a nod. See a new logo there for the Series X. I think it's a little bit busy personally, but that's my opinion. But this game looks pretty fantastic. So I did a little bit of research. This game, the Bright Memory, is actually on Steam now. Hey, Sibby. Now, Bright Memory is on Steam, and the actual game itself, Bright Memory Infinite, is also a listing on Steam. Now, is this a remake of the game? I don't know. Is this game going to be a specific just for the Xbox? No, it's going to be on the PC. It might be a remake. It might be a sequel, a prequel. I'm not sure. Not necessarily know how to tell what's going on with that. But from what I've seen, IGN, I think it was IGN, they said it is already on Steam, so it might be a remake of the original game. But as you can see here, you're using a grappling hook, there's sliding, there's jumping, wall running. It looks very fluid. It looks really, really nice. Some great weather effects, obviously, in this particular level. You have a sword, guns. You're battling enemies that almost look like some of the knights in like Dark Souls with the moving red eyes. There you go ahead and pull up a Cyberpunk car. When I first saw this game, the car almost looked like it was Cyberpunk 2077. I was actually really pleasantly surprised to see it was a brand new game. And here's my cat coming to say hi to me. All right, so that's Bright Memory Infinite. That looks actually fantastic. Now, along with that game, most of the other games were very similar as far as in style. What I mean that is it's gone back to an era that is very dark and moody and brooding, and we're gonna get right back into it. Oh my god, she's stuck in my coat. Alright, moving on. So that was Bright Memory Infinite. We're right next, you have Dirt 5, which it was revealed later on in the actual series with Troy Baker and Nolan North, so we'll have a story section to the actual game, which I'm not sure if Dirt 4 had, but if you're going to get Troy Baker and Nolan North, two of the more prolific voice actors, voice talent in the industry, there's definitely going to be some story. Then you have Scorn, which was a first-person shooter. Again, going back to the kind of dark, dank of the Bright Memory Infinite. And what I wanted to say there was, when I remember of PS3, that kind of Xbox 360 days, is the color palettes were so brown, black, and green. A lot of this Xbox Series X showcase reminded me of that, and I don't necessarily love it. When the PS4 and Xbox One came about, you had games like the Killzone that brought all this color into. Killzone was like a very dark game, and then the new Killzone for PS4, I'm blanking on the full name, but that brought in all these beautiful colors and aquas and greens and oranges. It was really a really good looking game. And so as we go down this list, there's a lot of that. So Course is the next game they introduced. It's kind of a ship battling game. a la something like Panzer Dragoon, seems like, and it takes place in space. You have, of course, Madden 2021, which is a Madden game, you know, the next one. Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. A lot of people have been waiting for this. I haven't played the first one. It's a third-person action game. Of course, you are playing as a vampire. It starts out with what seems like a serial killer dressing up a family that has been murdered. Like, it's a really intense actual preview of the game, but again, it's a preview. It's not in-game footage from what I could see. Then they moved on to Call of the Sea, which did look really bright and beautiful. That is a puzzle game. The Ascent, which is a top-down shooter. Again, that goes back to the dark. The Medium, which is a horror game. The cool thing about this, they revealed in After Xbox, is that the original composer for Silent Hill, in particular Silent Hill 2, will be working on this game for the music. That is super cool, a very special thing, and it's always amazing when they get these really cool composers back to design some great music. Check out Streets of Rage 4. They brought back the original composer for that one, and it shows really good music. He doesn't do all the music, but he does some of it. Then you move on to Scarlet Nexus, which is kind of a Japanese action third-person hack and slash, something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, which was very cool. We have Second Extinction, which was the, I guess, Turok style game. I want to see if I can find any gameplay footage of that. That actually looked pretty cool. You are essentially facing hordes of what look like raptors and different dinosaurs. I think this is it right here. Yep, this is it. So, look at all these raptors coming in. And it looks, from the looks of it, before I know anything about it, it looks like somewhat of a horde mode, as we've seen in a lot of games recently. Very visceral. Really looks very realistic. I'm excited for that one. That one's going to be fun. And then you have a big T-Rex coming in there. Reclaim Earth. Second Extinction. And then we have another Yakuza game, Like a Dragon. That looks fantastic. And then probably one of the biggest disappointments, Assassin's Creed. So they've been teasing Assassin's Creed all week now. They revealed Valhalla. Going to be playing as a Viking. Cool. Looks amazing. We were hoping to see gameplay, and they showed quote-unquote in-engine footage. Actually, the only gameplay I feel like they really showed was here in Yakuza. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla will show right here. Really, again, you'll see it's another trailer. So the game looks cool. It doesn't change my opinion on it. It looks amazing. But that's going to be awesome. And then again, they did have an interview with the developer after showing all these games. They went in depth on what to expect. Now, we knew a lot of these details before. You're coming to England as a Viking. You're going to be having a settlement. You're going to build your settlement. You're going to recruit new people. Base building. It looks amazing. Base building is one of my favorite mechanics in any game. You can tack RPG and base building onto a game, and I'm there. I want to try it out. It looks really cool. So, Xbox Series X. A lot of people were honestly disappointed by that, and I can see why. Move on to the next story here from GameSpot, tying in with the Series X expectations, smart delivery. So this is their word for games that you can buy once on the previous generation and it will continue to play. Now, it's not necessarily backwards compatibility, like yes, your game will work, but for example, if they make Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if they remake it and remake it better for the Xbox Series X, it will essentially be that new, better game. You'll only have to purchase this one. So pretty cool delivery system. PlayStation has said, yes, they will have backwards compatibility. I would assume they're going to match something like this. They have not stated anything. So just a little recap on what games are going to actually feature it. Right here, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, as we know, Call of the Sea, which was that puzzle game, Chorus, which was the flying game, Cyberpunk 2077, Halo Infinite, Hellblade 2, Dirt 5, Scarlet Nexus, Second Extinction, The Ascent, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. So that's all exciting. This next story indicates that you may not need to be so worried about the graphics for next gen. What I mean by that is that next gen graphics might not matter as much as some of the other feats that are happening. So both the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are going to have some really nice CPUs in them. Now that's going to help games achieve higher frames per second. Also may help things like the menus. Some of the menus in like the PlayStation Store, for example, are really slow and quite frustrating to use, even just the menus on screen. Hopefully they can use some of that CPU power to actually control some of the operating system on the gaming console itself to make that all a really smooth transition in and out of games and just using it itself. Of course, higher frames per second is always wanted. The graphics won't be as big of a leap from PlayStation 3 as they were to 4, or even like PlayStation 2 to 3, or Xbox to Xbox 360. So it'll be interesting to see. You're going to be able to see ray tracing very easily, but it's not going to be like this, whoa, it looks totally different. It just won't quite yet, as far as like what we've seen or come to expect. And that leads me to this Twitter comment. Jeff Grubb, who works for VentureBeat, I thought had a really well thought out tweet here. So he says, games just aren't going to look like a generational leap. Next gen consoles about to keep Digital Foundry in business, finding small improvements to help us justify why we spent $1,000 plus on new consoles. Now $1,000 plus might be a little hyperbole. Definitely some people will buy the console with extra controllers, with the 5 launch games right away, and yeah, they'll be $1,000 plus. But I think, the new console will be anywhere from $450 to $600, I'm assuming, and we'll see where that lies. Now, he also goes in to say that in real-world use, the generation is going to feel like a bigger leap from the 360 to Xbox One, but that's not going to show up in trailers. Even ray tracing, which is easy to see in video, won't look that different in a slick vertical slice. Dial down your expectations. Xbox One S already runs Doom Eternal at 60 frames per second at 900p. Bump up the resolution, turn up the graphical effects here and there, but honestly, how much better can games look? And is it worth it to developers to make games that look better than that? And again, remember, it is more expensive for developers to make better looking games, so you have to keep that in mind too. The Radeon RX 480 launched in 2016 and still runs almost every new game that launches at 1080p 60, which, if you look on the Steam usages, that's what most people are aiming for. They're looking at that high quality 1080p, maybe a 75 hertz. My gaming monitor is weird. I have a 75 hertz gaming monitor, or like that 120 FPS, which is amazing for racing games and first-person shooters. Visuals have plateaued. Yes, we're going to push higher resolutions and faster frame rates, but we're going to hit diminishing returns there soon, and we already have with resolution. For gaming, the biggest advancements for CPUs are the Ryzen 3s because they deliver a $250 2017 performance for $120 today. That's where all the excitement is, making stuff from 3 to 4 years ago more affordable. And then I commented there. What I think, honestly, and here's my comment from Sodi Pop Meter, only exclusives will make the difference. The power divide will show less and less. I'm in it for fast and no load times, seamless experience, and for God's sake, better running storefronts. That's honestly what I think some of the biggest improvements we're going to see is exactly that, is that SSDs are going to provide the big leap. Whenever you upgrade your computer, usually the first upgrade, if you have an old computer, I had one from 2009, the first big upgrade was the SSD, and that makes your computer run so much faster, so much better than any GPU or CPU could right off the bat. Now there's ifs, ands, and buts with that I won't get into. Moving on, the same guy, Jeffrey Grubb, will your TV handle Xbox Series X games that run 120 frames per second? You might be saying, hey, Matt, I have a gaming monitor, 120 frames per second. That's great. Gaming monitors usually work out just fine. There's probably some asterisks with that. But if you're thinking a TV, now TV manufacturers get really tricky with things like HDR. You won't have true HDR sometimes. But he goes into it. Now, can your TV run Dirt 5 at 120 frames per second? He says, okay, so the Series X can run Dirt 5 at 120 frames per second. That's not going to matter if you don't have the right display. High refresh rate content is common to PC, but console is primarily topped at 60 frames per second. Very true, because it hasn't mattered that most TVs top out at 60 hertz. This is a problem for next-gen consoles. They actually see Dirt 5 running at 120 frames per second. Let's keep a little bit here. You have to have an HFR panel support. It's a lot more complicated than that. The issue comes down to audio-visual interface running between your TV and the Xbox Series X. Let's go into the wild world of HDMI 2.1, and you may be thinking USB 2.0. Then they introduced, remember that little blue thing, USB 3.0. You get 5 gigabytes per second, I believe, throughput for USB 3.0. Now there's USB 3.1, 10 gigabytes per second throughput. And I believe there's even the 3.2, but I won't get into it because I'm not super positive. USB-C. USB-C is just the connector that you're using to charge or to transfer data or what have you. USB-C is just the name of the connector. It doesn't say what USB standard it's using. You can have a USB-C to USB 2.0 cable, and it's going to function at the speed of USB 2.0, or USB-C to USB 3.0 or 3.1. That's stuff that you all have to look at the fine print for, which is annoying when you're shopping for this stuff. So he makes sure to point out you're going to need HDMI 2.1. You'll need a TV that supports 2.1. And right now, chances are slim, I'm quoting him, that you already own a TV with HDMI 2.1 if you bought a TV within the last year. Even then, you probably don't have the necessary port, which is interesting. I don't know if I necessarily understand that. HDMI 2.1 is the next-gen interface that supports data bandwidth of up to 48 gigabytes per second. This enables you to run a 12-bit HDR 4K at up to 120 hertz, although even some TVs that support HDMI 2.1 don't go all the way to 48 gigabits per second. It's a mess. And do you have the 2020 Samsung Q800T, which is an awesome television for gaming? Or did you get the LG OLED over the past 12 months? If no, then you're almost certainly going to need an upgrade. So keep that in mind. Now, if you stay tuned to this channel, I will definitely be following this closely. I'm going to keep an eye out for the TVs and have a buyer's guide for what TVs make sense for the new generation if you're trying to max out what you're getting. And then instead of looking at all these TVs, looking at the fine print, you say, okay, these are the 10 that will do the max. And then you can choose between quality, between the picture quality, between the different HDRs, between the price, where you can get them. Just simplify it. I mean, that makes sense. That's that's kind of like new technology in a nutshell. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. USB-C is such a great example of that right now. Moving on to Cyberpunk, a game I'm sure everyone is super pumped for. They announced that Night City Wire is going to be their essentially news wire for June 11th. It's taking place of their E3 conference, so I'm sure they're going to have a lot of cool stuff happening there. This next story is crazy to me. You get to pick your genitalia when you're character creation. You can customize genital, how big they are, of course, what type they are, so you're not just male or female. Looks crazy. Will that have any sort of gameplay effects? I really don't know. I'm very curious to see, well, if you pick a big package, will it have more encumbrance, you can't carry as much, or will that make you more powerful, or will they not do anything at all? I don't know. Very curious to see. It's obviously an M-rated game. They go into essentially kind of a crucifixion scene here as to what there is. Apparently there seems to be sex within this game. Obviously it's M-rated. If you can pick your genitalia, I'm almost expecting there to be sexual relations in the game. So we'll see how that all plays out. The game looks like it's shaping up to be amazing, and obviously the developer is fantastic. He's the same developer for the Witcher games, if you weren't already painfully aware. Coming up, we have the Xbox Game Pass games, some really great titles here. We have Red Dead Redemption 2 coming May 7th. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming and replacing GTA 5 of Rockstar Games. So if you haven't played GTA 5 yet, this is a great opportunity to do that. Moving back, we have Final Fantasy 9, which is really one of the more loved, I would say, Final Fantasy games of that generation. It took you back to how Final Fantasy was after 7 and 8 with like the old style. You have the knight, you have the black mage, white mage. So it's pretty cool. Really nice story. A really great game. And then Fractured Minds, which I'll get into in Day Z. So let's kind of read a little description. I already told you about Final Fantasy 9 here. Day Z, kind of one of the original open world survival games. Now it's more of like a battle royale kind of sorta. There are no superficial tips, waypoints, or help given to you. Every decision matters, with no saves, no extra lives, where mistakes can be lethal. So it's an open world, 60 players. It's been popular for quite a while. Red Dead Redemption 2, no introduction needed. Fractured Minds is something I don't think is really apparent to everyone. So Fractured Minds, ID at Xbox game. Fractured Minds is an immersive, artistic short game exploring anxiety and mental health issues. Embark on a journey through human psyche to experience and everyday challenges associated with these conditions. So I had never heard of it before, so I went ahead and pull up a trailer. Go ahead and mute it just in case there is any sort of music that might be copyrighted. And then let's jump into it. So it looks a little bit like a walking simulator game. A little bit brighter as far as the art style than I would expect, but really cool. I mean, it looks like a cool experience. Shorter game, so check it out if you have Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass also is in its beta for the PC. I believe it's just $1, so check it out. It's a really good deal. And then lastly, our last story of the day, sales. So I went ahead and looked up sales for Animal Crossing New Horizons, which are insanity right now. And I think if you've been paying attention at all, you would know that. I want to extrapolate that out to PlayStation 5 and the Series X, because I think it is possible that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X could be phenomenal as far as sales. Now just hear me out. Where the money is being spent is a lot of leisure activities. And obviously we see it here, we see it with the Nintendo Switch, and there's particular reasons. Animal Crossing is a fantastic game and it obviously appeals to casuals, but it's also not the cost of a new system. YouTube, per Bloomberg, this was April 13th, YouTube sees 75% jump in news views and thirst for virus updates. But also they see a jump in general. So moving forward, this is SI Live. You see YouTube viewership skyrockets amid the coronavirus pandemic. And this is April 26th. And in general, yes, I see news skyrocketing, but viewership is also in general skyrocketing. And so what's happening here is, despite this whole pandemic, right, you have a lot of people staying at home and they're trying to fill the time, trying to enjoy themselves for what they can. They might be out of work and they might be working at home. So you have Animal Crossing, which I want to put this in perspective. Animal Crossing, 11.77 million sold. That is over just a few weeks. And the previous game on 3DS, Animal Crossing New Leaf, which was already crazy popular, which is like 12.8 million sold for its lifetime sales. Right above that, you have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, a massive success at 11.97 million sales. Obviously still selling here and there, but it's almost caught up to that. And then Pokemon above that, which Pokemon is always massive and has also been out for a lot longer time, 17.37 million, which is just crazy. Even 5 million is a lot to sell. And man, Animal Crossing has just been killing it. Now it does appeal to more casual gamers. My girlfriend picked it up. She has the pink Nintendo Switch Lite that I've been using here on and out, and just absolutely loves the game. I would not describe her as a hardcore gamer at all. A lot of my friends who don't play games at all, I've talked about it a lot obviously on this show, and they're like, man, let me check it out. They do, and they absolutely love it. So Animal Crossing appeals to new gamers, and a lot of people are picking up the Nintendo Switch because of it. And Nintendo Switch is kind of running out everywhere, so Nintendo is seeing amazing sales. But I just wanted to bring into perspective, like also YouTube. I've also seen other places that like bookstores are having record sales. There's people that are looking for stay-at-home and leisure activities, and they're willing to pay for it. Now, these consoles are going to be more expensive. Again, anywhere from the $450 to $600 range. So it remains to be seen if they're going to be extremely popular since they are bigger purchases, but I think they do have a chance to definitely sell through, sell out, and be very scarce when they're released this holiday season. We've already seen PlayStation say they're going to have to produce less than they did the PlayStation 4. So I'm curious to see what kind of effect that will have. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. That about does it for this episode of Chat with Matt. If you agree with me or disagree with me on the Series X and PlayStation 5 sales, comment down below. Tell me what you thought about that Series X showcase, what you think overall about the next generation of consoles. Does the graphics matter as much? Will the SSD matter, the CPU? In my opinion, it's going to be the exclusives that matter. And, you have Halo and, of course, the Forza series and Gears with Xbox. And then Sony has their own stable of games. Obviously, you have Horizon Zero Dawn, Drake's Fortune, God of War. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a great next generation, and I'm excited for it. I didn't think I was ready this past year, but as we're getting more into it, more hype is building. I'm super pumped about it. All right, well, thank you so much. I want you to have a wonderful day. Again, the 3 T's and IG, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. I am on, of course, at Sodi Pop Media, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Twitch at noon. I will be playing Rocket League Pacific Standard Time. If you want to play any other games or want me to check out something else, comment below. Catch me on Twitter. Go on Twitch. I'm on a whole bunch of platforms, and I will be there responding to you as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Be yourself and eat a cookie. Bye.